With dog fennel.
Dog fennel. A strong scented chamomile of Europe and Asia, naturalized along roadsides in the U.S.
Oh, we naturalized
So I
that.
bet you didn't know that shit.
I could have guessed. I could have guessed that dog fennel was some kind of roadside weed. I think I could have maybe guessed.
Dog fennel.
Dog fennel.
Shout out if you've ever eaten dog fennel in food.
Hilarious.
I don't know.
Okay.
What else
I don't
do
know.
you do?
I don't know.
What else do you do with herbs?
You'd probably put it in dog. Only dogs would eat it.
Tea?
I think. Yeah.
Maybe make a tea. Email us if you've ever drank dog fennel tea.
No one knows.
We're having a nice time.
We got a new dictionary.
I got a candle.
10th edition.
I got a candle and Andrew brought out a lamp immediately after.
Right.
And that's fine with me.
Because you have to read the book.
And I don't...
The book is...
You see, the words find their way to you.
I know a lot of people don't know this, but in the old days, you'd read something and it didn't have a light behind it. You'd have to have a light above you or near you to read it. It wouldn't just be emanating.
Back before 9/11.
Yeah. When we invented LCD screens. We got... You hit us with some more definitions. Anything...
Okay, so Andrew handed
Try
me
a
the
different
dictionary,
page.
and
Try a different
I'm
page
just
out.
fascinated that it's all the dog stuff.
That's the D section, yeah.
There's so many dog words. Doo-doo.
Yeah,
Excrement.
I know that.
All right. Just making sure that everyone knows that's in the dictionary. If you want to play it in Scrabble or something.
Do. They had the Scrabble dictionary, too. I didn't get it.
Oh, I have that.
Okay.
I have the Onyx edition.
Oh, wow.
So.
Oh, right. The one that comes with the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Double glazing. Double Gloucester. There's a lot of 2 words here. Double speak. Language used to deceive.
You're having trouble finding any good words.
Through concealment.
Try to find a good word, man.
I'm trying to find a good word, man.
You could get out of the D's. Just leap away from the D's.
I'm out of the D's, man. You don't even know where I am. Okay, fusillade. I just like the sound of that.
Fusillade?
Yeah.
That's like a grease you put on the outside of an airplane.
It is a number of shots fired simultaneously or in rapid succession.
Okay, I get it.
Okay, this is a good game.
Alright.
I'm going to find a word that I don't know. Hellebore.
Hellebore?
Mm-hmm.
It's a hole in something for the sun. It's one of those sun holes.
The hellebore.
Yeah.
It is...
What is it?
Any of a genus of poisonous herbs of the buttercup family having snowy flowers.
The plant ones don't count as words.
I just saw a word and
I know,
read it.
I know, but I'm saying I'm not gonna know those. I'm not gonna the ones that are different plants that are just regular plants.
Heldentenor.
Heldentenor.
What's a Heldentenor? You have a musical background?
Oh. It's one word.
That's your clue? Yes.
How do you spell it?
Heldentenor.
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 That's a certain type of singer.
It is. It's a tenor with a powerful dramatic voice well suited to heroic roles.
Okay.
As
like
Wagnerian. As
opera.
Wagnerian. What the hell's an octillo? It's a plant? An ocotillo?
Ocotillo?
I'm in the O's, and we're looking around in the O's. What's an oleograph?
It's like got different waves on it. It's like a wave graph.
It is a chromolithograph.
Yeah.
No, dumbass. It's a chromolithograph.
So it's
printed
for
on
printing.
cloth to imitate an oil painting.
Oh, I get
Oleograph.
it. Yeah, I get it.
We love that.
It's like a lithograph, but it's not oil paint. It looks like an oil painting.
Yeah,
And it's
but
in color.
some other kind of crazy graph. It's chromolith.
That's what I'm saying. A chromolithograph is just a color lithograph.
Chromolithograph.
It's a type of printing.
Hell yeah. On coronavirus.
That's
There's
a type
lot
of virus.
This is medical stuff. We pretty much know every word. Oh, Omicron. Oh.
Omnicron?
Omicron, dude.
Omicron?
Omicron. It's the letter O.
Oh.
The oligopoly. How about that?
That's where a small group of people has control over a certain part of the economy.
Perfect. You said that. You said the definition word for word. It's exactly what I read in the dictionary.
Shit. What does it say? What was it?
Oh, I can read it.
I was like, was it actually?
No, it it did not.
Oh,
I'm trying to find.
you're fine. You can get it.
What the dictionary is huge.
Try to find a good one.
How about you? How about you take what you get and you don't throw a fit? Operculum. The hell is that?
It's an outer membrane.
You always go body. You're always like it's the tube on the under the behind the heart. It is a body process. You're right this time. It's a body process or part that suggests a lid.
I was totally right. It suggests a lid.
It suggests a lid.
It's not. One may say it's a lid, but
Oh, it's like a fish thing.
yeah, I get
Something
it.
fish have to cover their gills.
Yeah,
A lid or covering flap.
like an outer membrane. Pretty much an outer membrane, sort of.
That's crazy.
But flappish.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Flappish.
Let's see what else. What else could we have, folks? You're gonna want to go
Last
get your
one.
dictionaries out and read along.
Last one.
We're in the O section. We're trying to find one that you won't know, that's not medical or
Get out of the O's.
I'm lost in the O's.
The O's is a dead end.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, you're in the R's now?
I'm in the P's.
P's are good.
There's gonna be something
A
good
lot
in
of
the
medical
P's.
stuff in the P's.
Probably.
Physio.
Yeah, Pott's disease.
Physio. Poltergeist. Paleo.
What's a Poulter's measure? That's the last one. Poulter's measure. What's that?
It's like a handful.
No, it's a musical thing.
Shit.
It's a meter in which lines of 12 and 14 syllables alternate.
Oh. I
Every
get it.
a child can tell you that.
Yeah.
So that was the dictionary segment.
All right.
We're
We're breaking it in.
we're breaking it in.
We got the new.
We're putting some
Putting it
miles
through
on
its
it.
paces.
We roll it off the lot, and the value is already depreciated, so we're just having fun with it.
Yeah. We got the.
This is your it's the newest tome.
But yeah, I got more. I got poems. I'm gonna do some poems.
It's a poem.
I got Kabir, Songs of Kabir, translated by Rabindranath Tagore.
I just want you to read me a poem.
But yeah, you got the. So he's from India, belonged to 12th century southern India. Kabir.
Can't wait.
And this is, dude, it's got the Roman numerals. It says 102 Tarvar Ekmul Vin Thada. If you're following along at home.
Okay.
If you have the songs of Kabir. Okay. There's a strange tree which stands without roots and bears fruits without blossoming. It has no branches and no leaves. It is lotus all over. 2 birds sing there. One is the guru and the other the disciple. The disciple chooses the manifold fruits of life and tastes them, and the guru beholds him in joy. What Kabir says is hard to understand. The bird is beyond seeking, yet it is most clearly visible. The formless is in the midst of all forms. I sing the glory of forms.
Whoa.
So yeah, sing the glory of forms.
Praise poems.
Yeah. But do you know what manifold means?
Not really. I know.
Let's get the dictionary
Let's
version.
go into manifold here. Manifold is something.
I know it's on the car, right? But I think you don't know the other meaning, non-car part, because I think it is part of the car. But
I used to live with a guy who was like a super like abstract math genius guy.
Manifold math.
There were manifolds involved.
Right.
Somehow.
Manifolds upon manifolds.
I'm trying to find manifold, and
MANI.
Right.
MANIF. I was on the dictionary skills team.
You were on the dictionary skills team? That's a
sixth
team?
grade, yeah. I kind of did other teams later because I realized it was kind of a dumb team that anyone could do.
MANIF.
I couldn't really excel.
Something that is manifold as a whole that unites or consists of many diverse elements. The aspirations, passions, frustrations. That's a Harry Slotchauer quote in the dictionary.
Okay. What does it mean? What does manifold mean?
I'm just trying
Does it just have that quote?
Oh, there's 4 definitions of manifold. Oh my god. Many times. It can mean many times.
That's mainly what I meant.
It can mean multiply. It can mean a pipe fitting several lateral outlets for connecting one pipe with others.
That's probably what the car's like.
Also a fitting on an internal combustion engine that directs
that's
fuel
it.
and air
That's what we're
mixture
doing.
to or receives the exhaust gases from several cylinders. Great.
Fuel and air mixture.
Mm-hmm. Topological space.
We need a fuel and air mixture.
Has a neighborhood that is homeomorphic to the interior of a sphere in Euclidean space.
Oh, that's
of
what
the
you're
same
talking
number
about.
of
There's the
dimensions.
math.
Yeah, hell yeah.
There's that math.
Manifolds are crazy. Shout out math. Shout out abstract mathematics.
Do you want to read this one?
No, you got it. I'm the dictionary guy.
23. You don't want to do 23?
What do we
It's
got?
not long.
Alright, you talk me into it. Tinweer Sanj Ka Jahira Awai. As follows. The shadows of evening fall thick and deep, and the darkness of love envelops the body and the mind. Open the window to the west and be lost in the sky of love. Drink the sweet honey that steeps the petals of the lotus of the heart. Receive the waves in your body. What splendor is in the region of the sea? Hark! The sounds of conches and bells are rising. Kabir says, "O brother, behold, the Lord is in this vessel of my body."
There you go.
Hell yeah. That's sick. That's fire, dude.
Yeah, man.
Start giving yourself
I like that he tells you at the end what he's saying. Like
Sorry.
the other one said, it was like, Kabir's hard to understand. The one I read.
Kabir's hard to
And then this one it says, Kabir.
talking.
Well, he just explains at the end in a quote, usually, what the whole poem meant.
Yeah.
And he says, Kabir says, "Oh brother, behold, the Lord is the vessel of my body." So that's kind of what the whole thing was about. I got one more.
Pretty good.
I got one more. Figured do 3 and then get into the book.
Straight life.
Yeah, I got straight life.
Sorry to bury it.
I think I'm burying it by not saying it,
Oh, blow it. I mean, sorry.
digging it up
I dug it up.
prematurely. What I was burying.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, this one is 18, I think. And then it says 2 and then 77. I don't know what the numbers, how they work.
All right.
Mad Akas Apjahan Baithe. Okay. The middle region of the sky, wherein the spirit dwelleth, is radiant with the music of light. There, where the pure and white music blossoms, my Lord takes his delight. In the wondrous effulgence of his hair, of his body. Oh, wait. In the wondrous effulgence, EFFULGENCE. What is effulgence? I don't know what that means. It just means really good, really nice.
Effulgence To
EF.
shine forth, radiant splendor, brilliance.
Yeah, really nice and shiny.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, in the wondrous effulgence of each hair of his body, the brightness of millions of suns and of moons is lost. On that shore there is a city where the rain of nectar pours and pours and never ceases. Kabir says, "Come, O Dharmadas, and see my great lord's Durbar."
Durbar?
Durbar. So, come see my great lord's Durbar. So.
Beautiful Durbar.
Yeah, probably would be really good if I knew. That would probably make the poem make a lot more sense if I knew about the Durbar and the.
Yeah, is that a name?
I don't know. My lord's Durbar. I think it's. I don't know because it's the Lord has it. It's possessive. So Lord's Durbar.
My Lord's Durbar. Maybe Durbar will
Durbar's
be.
not in there. No way.
Well, what if it was?
It won't be.
All right.
It's from 1995. They're not ready. They're not ready for 12th century Indian poetry.
Nobody's ready. Truly, nobody's ready. No, Durbar's not in here. Oh, Durbar. Court held by an Indian prince.
Boom!
Formal reception held by an Indian prince or an African ruler.
Wow.
Were you about to pause it?
No, I was going to look it up on my phone.
Oh, yeah, I got it. It's in here, dude.
Come, O Dharmadas, and see my great lord's Durbar. Oh, so he's having a big party.
Hell yeah.
Come see this party. All right, so come. Yeah, so welcome to the
It's a
Durbar.
good poem, yeah.
Yeah, welcome to the Durbar.
It's called Welcome to the Durbar.
Welcome to the Durbar.
I'd like to write a poem that's just like, hi, thank you for calling Verizon Wireless. How
That's
can I
good.
help you?
Sort of dada.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, I'm trying to just be a Dada.
You're a dada poet.
Dadaist. Dadaism.
You just read bills that you have to pay on stage.
Yeah. Yeah, I just read my all the junk mail.
Yeah, that's poetry, man.
It is poetry.
Okay, so I got the book. We got the jazz book. It's here. It's called Straight Life, The Story of Art Pepper by Art and Lori Pepper.
Shout out Art Pepper.
So Art Pepper, born 1925, died 1982. This is from the back. He was called the greatest alto saxophonist of the post-Charlie Parker generation. But his autobiography, Straight Life, is much more than a jazz book. It is one of the most explosive, yet one of the most lyrical of all autobiographies. And then it's got a bunch of press things. So yeah, it's like his wife... Let me find the dedication, if it has the dedication. Because it has maybe a little thing about... Oh yeah, so it says...
He's
So this is a note that his wife put at the beginning.
a dead guy, right?
He died in 1982, yeah.
Okay.
So this is what Lori Pepper wrote at the beginning. This is a true story, a tape-recorded narrative by Art Pepper and those who've known him, which I have transcribed and edited. In order to avoid embarrassing a number of people, some details have been changed and pseudonyms are occasionally used. Attitudes, intentions, and feelings attributed by Art Pepper to anyone besides himself should be understood by the reader to be Art's impressions, not fact.
Okay.
So that's how it's
Right.
weird. I've never read a book where it's just a guy talking into a tape recorder and then his wife just edits it. So it's
That
all just
sounds
stuff that he just transcribed in
This is
each
from
chapter.
the mouth. This is from the mouth of
This
Art
is from his mouth,
Pep.
Art Pepper. So yeah, there's different chapters: childhood, the army. There's one just called heroin.
Nice.
There's one that's called Busted, and then there's a bunch of jails. He goes to a bunch of different jails and stuff. But then I was gonna read the one. It's chapter 13, and it's in 1960. It has the year for each chapter and stuff, and it's called Stealing.
Hell yeah. Have you ever stolen anything?
Nothing really. Nothing too high profile. I don't know. What about you?
I worked at Ace Hardware when I was 16 and I got fired for stealing.
For stealing from your job, though.
Prosecuted.
Dang.
No, I don't know. I don't know what the most expensive thing I've ever stolen is. But I don't know. I think a hat one time.
Yeah. I don't do heroin, so I think I would probably. You know, if you don't have the motivation, it's hard to really get out there and try to get good stuff.
Well, as a heroin addict, I need to get good stuff.
I didn't mean you were a heroin addict. I didn't insinuate that.
I'm saying that I'm a heroin.
You're not, though. You don't do heroin.
You don't know that.
I do know that.
I could.
Okay. What do you do?
I could do as much heroin as I want.
Sure, man.
All right, never mind.
But yeah, this guy does heroin, and so I don't know. He's not a good person either. It's like he does bad stuff in the book, and it's like you're like, dang, that's crazy. You wrote that down. That's crazy. You wrote down you did that.
Globin's yelling.
Yeah.
What?
All
right, pause. I gotta feed them.
He loves jazz.
Hello.
Okay, so yeah, we got the jazz book. We're on chapter 13. Yeah, it's just called Stealing.
Stealing.
Yeah.
By Art Pepper.
Yeah.
Artie Pep.
I've often thought that maybe I was in the wrong thing being a musician. The people I met, the musicians I met playing in the clubs or at a recording sessions, seemed very unreal to me, insincere, two-faced. I never knew where I stood with them, and I never felt at home with them, and the only way I could relax with them was to be loaded.
Hell yeah.
I'm that way to this day. Oh yeah, also he lives in California. That's important.
Okay.
He's not one of these East Coast cats. He's a West Coast cat. Never felt it to this day. They're gossips, real politicians. They come on, oh, hi. But behind your back, they'll rank you. And if they get busted, they'll rat on you. And I found when I'd come out of jail, they were always looking at my eyes and looking at my arms to see if there were any marks while they were smiling at me and saying, oh, how good it is to have you back. When I'd started using drugs, I ran into a different kind of person. In jail, I found people who had honor. They were real. They said what they thought. If someone bad rapped you to a friend of yours, he'd say, hey man, don't talk about him like that. That cat's my friend. The dope fiends were warm to me and open with me, I felt. And so, on the way home, as I say, I made the turn. I went to East LA and scored and saw the people, and I had some idea that here were people I could communicate with. Oh, so he just got out of jail in the last one, I think. Okay. I started using, and for a while I was able to do it. I had so much money. Diane had a fur coat. For a while I was able to buy dope and continue living the way I had been. And the heroin was actually better for me than the Cosanil. I felt healthier, but that wasn't what I wanted. I had to get really far out and have everything change. And in order to do that, I started using just a ridiculous amount of heroin. And so I put myself in a position where I was no longer able to function really.
I need to get really far out.
Yeah. Where it became obvious to everyone what was happening. I started coming in a little late, nodding out at the sessions. Little by little, people started saying, uh-oh, there he goes. And some people tried to talk to me. Is everything all right? You know, the few who really cared about me. But I wouldn't accept any help. I didn't want any help. They thought this was something that was happening to me, that I had no control over. But I was doing it purposely doing it for some end that I'm not really sure what it was, except that I knew I wasn't happy in this false paradise I had carved out for myself in Studio City. I guess in order to really make things difficult, I burglarized the doctor's office. I didn't have to, in close proximity to where we were living, to put pressure on myself. I couldn't find any money, but I got a whole bunch of dope, millions of pills. Diane was really getting messed up. She had decided to go wherever I went and however I went, and I felt bad because what I was doing to myself, I didn't want to do to her. I thought, well, maybe I'll use these pills to get us cleaned up. And then maybe I could figure out some way to keep her from going down the tubes with me. We tried to clean up. We went through an unbelievable scene in the little house we lived in for 4 days, taking hundreds of pills. I remember I fell down over a table at one point and broke a lamp and cut myself. Diane would fall. It was a nightmare of falling on the floor looking for pills. Diane had dropped the bottles and they broke.
Good God.
Diane was trying to get out of the house. Right near us was a wash by Ventura Boulevard with a big drain, like a storm drain. And she wanted to go to this wash and fling herself over the bridge. It would have killed her and she would have done it, but she couldn't get out the door. She couldn't find the door. She never found the door. I swear to God, she could not find the door. On about the 5th day, I came to enough to see that the poor dog was just terrified and starving. I knew I had to take care of the dog. I had a pain in my arm. I looked down at my clothes, and they were covered with blood. I wondered if I had killed her, Diane, in my delirium to be rid of her.
What the fuck?
Dude, he would, dude. He fucking would.
Do something like that.
He's crazy.
This guy's a psycho.
He's
I don't
crazy,
know him at all,
bro.
but he's crazy.
He's crazy. He just wants to get loaded.
He wants to be out there and get loaded.
Yeah. I panicked and ran into the other room, but there she was alive, lying on the floor amidst the broken bottles. She had cuts all over her from trying to find pills on the floor. I fed the dog, and I realized I had to have some heroin. I was so sick I couldn't believe it. Oh, damn, Globey wants the heroin, dude. I couldn't believe it, and I had no money, no nothing. I left the house and got into the car. The car, I'd let it go, no oil change, and I was using cheap gas. And that day, as I was driving to East LA, I ran into the back of another car at a stop sign. No one was hurt, but it ruined my car. Both front tires were cut. When I finally finished with the cop, I left it where it was and started walking. I was in Lincoln Heights when I had the wreck at 5 Points, a little area where 5 streets come together. I walked to East LA and found Rachel and Boy. Capitalized B, Boy. I told them I was deathly ill and I had to have a taste, but I didn't have any money. They saw what awful shape I was in, so they turned me on. I said, I've got to get something for Diane. That's one of the few times people had come through when I really needed dope. Boy said, I'll drive you home. He couldn't believe his eyes when we got into the house. The dog was so frightened she peed all over the floor when we went in, and I felt so guilty for the poor dog. Diane was crawling on the floor. Boy helped me put her in a chair. I fixed her, and it brought her back to life. She looked around and told me she had been trying for days to find the door to get out to throw herself off the bridge. I saw that I couldn't stop like that. I didn't want to stop. I had completely messed up my jobs now, missed a couple, and ruined everything. And I was already just about written off by everyone.
Fuck.
Yeah, dude. He can't even...
This guy loves to hit bottom.
He can't even do his gigs. He can't even make the gigs.
If you can't make your gigs, what are you doing?
About 4 months after...
at night. You've all day.
Dude.
You have all day.
And it's like, if you were with them, don't they... I guess he's the only one doing hair. He's like, damn, I wish
no one else is
everybody
doing
did
heroin with you? Yeah. Damn. Maybe they should do heroin.
None of y'all do heroin. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Thought this was going to be a fun tour.
I thought we were friends.
Okay. About 4 months after I made that trip on the freeway and just after this attempt to clean up, I went down to East LA to score, and I ran into a couple of friends of mine, Frank and Ruben, and they wanted to rob a nightclub in Studio City. Both of them were old-timers, been using a long time, and they were pretty sharp. Damn, we got Frank and Ruben.
Frank and Ruben sound great.
Frank and I had been friends for a while. I'd scored from him, and he'd helped me out occasionally. Frank made me think of a Mexican Mickey Cohen. He always wore suits, and he had a nice car, the big Thunderbird, which was a classy car at the time. He had a cold look about him. He was an intense person. He wore glasses and was very intelligent, spoke good English, and knew his way around. He was really respected in East LA in the drug culture. Ruben was a real relaxed, down-home type cat. Chubby. I don't think he even owned a suit. He wasn't intelligent as far as schooling went, but he was very smart in the ways of the streets, and he was smart in the ways of crime. Reuben was very open and warm and friendly, and we really got tight. He was always laughing and a lot of fun to be around. Reuben's father did landscaping. He had a gardening truck, so Reuben and I used to get together and go around just for kicks in this truck and do a couple of gardening jobs to get money to cop with.
Nice.
And while we were doing that, we would be boosting things, stealing.
Fuck yes.
I'd never done anything like that until after I came out of jail, but then little by little, each time I went to jail and came out, it got a little easier accepting that role. Frank, dang, that's sick that they're just stealing stuff while they're cutting
there's
the
so
lawn.
much shit I could steal at work. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I would never.
You
but
could
it's,
never, yeah.
I could never.
Yeah.
But that's crazy.
Yeah, no one's keeping track.
All these people, they just let me into their house.
They just got stuff laying around, man.
They got stuff laying around. Anyway.
Frank and Reuben saw that I was really strung out again, so they asked me if I would be interested in making a little bread. Frank said, "There's a nightclub out in the valley. Oh, wait, no, he's Mexican. I don't know. There's a nightclub out in the valley I've been casing. We'd like to burglarize it. You're in if you'd like to do it." I said, all right. I was broke by this time. I'd gone through just about everything and was already owing rent. I said, "Where's this place at?" Frank said, "That's one of the problems. It's right next to your house."
Oh, shit.
The club he was referring to was one of these great big places on Ventura Boulevard, next door to where I was living. I realized that if I did this job, I'd probably have to move, but I said okay. I wanted to see if I had the nerve to do something like that. When I was in jail, I'd heard guys talk, and I wanted to see if I could do a righteous burglary like that with weapons, so I said all right.
Whoa.
Yeah, he heard everybody in jail and was like, I could... These guys
cool.
These guys are dumb. Yeah, he's like, everybody else that did the burglary is so dumb. I'm so cool.
I could fucking do a way better burglary.
Way more righteous.
Don't you kind of... Isn't there a part of you that thinks you could do, like, a good heist?
Right, of course.
I think everybody...
I'm a criminal genius.
Oh my God, I have a criminal genius mind. How would you do a heist?
I don't know. Probably, like, wear a cool mask.
What do we bank? We doing bank?
I don't know.
I would go in and I would sabotage something in the bank.
Right.
Like fuck up some electrical something. So they have to call a repair company.
Oh, and then you're the repair
I come as the repair company.
Right.
I say, I gotta work at night because people are gonna be walking around.
Yeah.
I go in at night. I pour soda all over the security computer.
Right.
So that you can't get into that shit. It's completely locked off. And then I would just waltz right in.
Shit.
Take what's mine. Take it back.
Yeah. I'd probably go for, like...
And I would donate all of it. Art thievery?
Yeah.
Art theft?
If I'm doing a
heist.
Right. If I'm doing a heist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like airlift? Like helicopter?
I don't know.
Smash through the ceiling, hook it up to
Probably
a helicopter?
something with the maintenance sounds right.
Infiltrating?
I'm just there for some other reason.
Yeah.
But I have like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And then I put the painting in the Ferrari and I drive away.
Strap it to the roof.
Really fast. I have a special case pre-built that I slide it into and then I just drive away super fast.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And we would get away with it.
Yeah.
Because we're not some fucking strung out.
It would be
dumbass.
righteous.
We don't do heroin.
Yeah.
All right?
I'd just hang the painting at my house. I wouldn't sell it. It would just be at my house.
Yeah, nobody would know who did it, so you'd just have a cool painting. You'd just be a guy with a sick painting.
I'd have the cool painting.
Anyway, send in how you would do your heist to the email. Scrounge it.
About a week before the job, Diane and I left the house. We didn't tell the landlady. We went and stayed with Frank in East LA. We took everything out of the house, but we moved our stuff just a little at a time so the neighbors wouldn't know we were leaving and notify the landlady. We had to have access to the house to burglarize the nightclub. They decided to do it on a Saturday night, actually Sunday morning. We drove out there in the Thunderbird. Frank had a black leather jacket on and a pair of black slacks. And he was wearing a hat, a stingy brim hat. He was a dapper cat.
A real dapper cat.
Yeah. There were 2 guns, and I wasn't allowed to have one. They were afraid with my inexperience I might get nervous and fire when there was no need to, which was a drag for me. I felt I should have one just in case. I was voted out of having a gun. We parked in back and entered the house through the back door. We didn't turn on any lights. We used candles. When it got to be about 2:30, Frank went down the street to a payphone and called the club. Somebody answered. He asked about reservations and came back. At 3:15, he called again, and there was no answer. He waited and called again. There was no answer. He let it ring and ring. Then he walked by the club and looked at it from all sides. There were no lights, no cars in the lot. He came back to the house and said, "Everything is ready. There's no one there." The plan was to cut a hole in the wall. The hole would come out in the kitchen area. They would go from there into the club itself, search that, take whatever that was stashed, and then go upstairs into the manager's office where the safe was with the money. Ruben was one of the best safe men in East LA. Guys would
Great
pull...
movie.
Yeah, about Ruben.
Great movie. Paul Giamatti, Sam Rockwell, Steve Zahn.
Oh, it's called Safe Men.
Harvey Firestein.
Safe Men.
Safe Men.
Okay, yeah, just say the movie. It's not called Safe Men in East LA. It's just called Safe Men. Right.
Yeah, it's just called Safe Men.
Okay.
Check it out.
Ruben was one of the best safe men in East LA. Guys would pull burglaries. They would have the hole already drilled and cut. Then they'd go get Ruben to open the safe. Frank said to me, "You're going to be the lookout, and that means I want you to look out the front windows and the side windows and keep circulating. Keep your ears open. If you hear anything, take this flashlight and signal us." I saw them getting the tools out, and I said, "Why do I have to go through the wall? Or why do you have to go through the wall?" They said, "You can't go through the doors because there's alarms on the doors. You have to go through the roof or a hole in the wall." They went out and started the hole. I could see them from the bedroom window. Their manner was very businesslike. They didn't waste any time. It was almost like surgeons working, you know. Chisel, wire cutters. The side of the building was stucco, but every so often as they went through the wall, they'd find a big piece of wire mesh. I think there were about 3 of them, to make the wall strong, and each time they came to the mesh, they had to cut. They had to make a hole large enough for a body to get through. It was hard work, and every now and then I'd hear an ow when they'd cut themselves or when they'd be straining to bend the wire back.
This sounds really hard.
Yeah.
I didn't know walls could be... Okay.
There's so much.
Stucco. There's going to be wood behind that.
Do you want to go? Do you want to read it?
If there's any... Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm at the top of this page. Watch out for the spine.
Okay. Mind the spine. I'm listening, pointing, and it's very spooky at this time of the morning. Very cold and damp. I'm walking around this abandoned house that's just a mess, with broken pill bottles on the floor and a few old pieces of furniture. I'd wanted to fix before we did the job, but they had rationed the dope out. We fixed it around 9 o'clock so we'd be clear-headed.
Smart.
After a certain length of time, about 3 or 4 hours after you fix, you become very aware, keenly aware. You kind of become sort of superhuman in your intellect. And as you start to get sick, you really become conscious and super sensitive to everything. Feelings, sounds.
Great time to do the robbery.
Get sick.
When I'm sick. Because my hearing will be better.
I'll be so sensitive.
I'll be really good at hearing.
All of us are sick as hell. Yeah, no problem. I can do the robbery. I just need to get sick. They kept working. It seemed like forever. And then I heard, "I think that's it." "Yeah, I think so." They both came into the house and Frank said, "All right, we're going in. You've got to really be careful now, man. If anything happens, you've got to run to the hole and holler inside." Both of them put handkerchiefs around their faces and they took their guns out. Frank went first and then Reuben, not really knowing if there was someone waiting inside. I kept running from the back of the house to the front, into the yard, listening, watching, and every now and then I'd hear a car or a siren. Finally, they came to the hole and called for me. They had a bundle, bottles of whiskey, and they had a bag full of change, money from the machines, cigarette machines, and things like that. We put it in the car. I said, "Is everything all right?" Reuben said, I don't know, man." Frank said, "There's an office upstairs, just like I thought, where the money is, but the door to the office is locked and it's wired. There's an alarm system into the office, and I don't know, there could be someone hiding in there, sleeping in there." We were standing in the bedroom of the house. They were debating what to do, and I was thinking that we'd gone through all this hassle, and we weren't going to get anything. Reuben said, "Well, I think I can take care of the alarm, run it back into itself, rewire it."
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hack it.
Reuben's a genius.
I said to Frank, "Why don't you give me a gun? Let me go into the office."
Yeah.
I really wanted to do something that would be exciting and dangerous. And I really needed the money. Frank said, "I'll do it. That's okay."
Give me the gun.
"I'll do it. That's okay." Reuben went in. After a while, he came back to the hole and he said, "Everything's cool. I got the thing turned around." Frank went in and he said, "Keep your fingers crossed." They had hoped to have everything done while it was still dark. Now it wouldn't be long before daylight, and I'm getting panicked. We should have already been out there. We should have already been out of there. Pardon me. Long gone out of there. We don't know if any silent alarm has been tripped, if the police are sneaking up to come get us, coming out with the stuff. Here I am without a gun. I can see myself getting hung.
Love a gun right now.
I can see myself getting hung with the whole thing and them getting away. I'm standing out by the hole, and all of a sudden here's Reuben, and he's got a big smile on his face. He says, "Help me out of here, man." He was too tired to push out of the hole. I pulled him, and I said, "What happened?" And here comes Frank. He says, "Here, take this." He hands out a box, a little box, and I say, "What's this?" He says, "That's it." He comes out, and I say, "That's it?" He says, "That's it." And the money wasn't in a safe. It was in a strong box. He handed me this box, and boy, my heart was pounding. And I said, "Is this it?" He said, "Yeah, man, we really lucked out. There was no one there, and everything's cool. Let's get out of here."
Yes.
We covered the hole with brush to keep it from being visible. We got into the car, and Frank said to me, "Why don't you drive, man?" Both of them were tired and cut up from breaking into the hole. It was daylight now. I got on the freeway, the same freeway I'd taken my little excursion on when I decided to go back to my dope fiend life. There's no cops, no black and whites, no motorcycles.
Hell yeah.
And so after we'd traveled a certain distance, I realized that we had made it. I looked over at Frank and said, "Man, let me have a drink." He handed me one of the bottles with the pouring spouts on them.
Hell yes, bro.
I took 4 big shots. Holy shit.
I'm driving.
Holy fuck.
Let me take 5 shots while driving.
And it's got that long spout.
Yeah, it's got the weird thing on it.
He was
yeah.
probably holding it away from his mouth, letting it fall in. I was already starting to get sick. Hell yeah, that's good. I was really strung out, but I was just so happy. We're driving along, and Frank opens the box and says, "Wow." I look over, and I see that there's just stacks of money.
Yes.
I felt so happy. I had never felt any elation like that before. It was a feeling of power, a feeling of accomplishment. I really felt like a man. I don't think I've ever been so satisfied with anything I've done. I looked at the other people on the streets and I thought, they ain't nothing compared to me. I'm a giant. King Pepper. King Arthur. Mr. Jazz. Mr. Everything. Mr. Everything is sick. We went to Reuben's house. He had a place in the back of his parents. A little
sort of
shed.
Mr. Everything.
Reuben lived with his parents the whole time. That's
Well, his dad has the gardening, and they ride around in the truck. Don't they?
yeah, and they do gardening jobs. Yeah.
It's a cop.
Sometimes he'd go back there with the guys to fix, and his parents knew that he did that with his friends. It was cool to do that. It was cool to do that. That was a cool thing to do. We went in to count the money. Naturally, I wouldn't get as big of a share as they did. They were the brains behind the thing. They had the guns. They had the plan. They had cut me in. I had done a good job, but naturally I wouldn't get as much as they did. We counted up the money. They were going to throw the checks away, but I said, no, let me have them, he said. You know you've got to be awfully careful. You've got to hold them for a while, and when you finally do pass them, you've got to be careful where you pass them. And if anything happens, that's you, period. I said, I know that. You don't have to worry about me. They said, well, you've been in prison. You know what it's all about.
Hell yeah.
And I did. It made me happy that they trusted me, and I had no worry about my ability to stand up under a bust and to take whatever I had to take. I said, let me have the checks. Frank gave them to me, and he handed me a little money sack. I didn't question or count or anything. Well, whatever I got was what I deserved. We left Reuben at the pad, and Frank and I got in his car and went to his house, where I was staying. The Mexicans that are married have a life separate from their wives. The wife stays at home and takes care of the kids and the house, and the man goes out. That's the way it's always been. The wife doesn't ask any questions. Frank drove me to the pad and said, tell Lupe I'll see her later on. I'm going to get some menudo.
Classic.
Sick. He was going to see his mistress, too.
Shit.
He let me off. I said, man, thank you. I was so elated. I was talking a mile a minute, and he was kind of chuckling. I wanted to kiss him. I was so happy. I walked to the house and looked around to make sure everything was okay. I've got this money sack, and I hold it behind my back. I knock on the door real quiet. We were sleeping in the front room. Diane comes to the door, sees it's me, and opens it. She says, what happened? We were really late. Frank's old lady comes, and she says, is everything all right? I say, yeah. And I took this bag, and I opened it, and I turned it like that. And money flew all over the room. We got all the money together and counted it. We had over $1,300 in cash.
Nice.
That was my share. There was 3,000 or 4,000 in checks, but it remained to be seen whether I could cash any of them. As it worked out, we cashed a lot of them.
Shit.
When you have checks like that, you give them to certain people. You take a percentage, and they take the risk. They go through them and take the ones they think they can cash on consignment, and they pay you as they cash each one. When they finish, they lay the rest back on you. We made almost $1,000 on that, so I ended up with about $2,300 for one night's work. And I felt like a real success.
Dang.
I felt that my dad would be proud of me. I wished that he could have seen me and gone through the whole night with me, being aware of what was happening. What I did. I was really slick. I had forgotten all about it. Now it hit me. I said to Lupe, man, here. I laid some bread on her and I said, give me a quarter. She said, no, here. And she gave me 10 back. She gave me a quarter for $40, and it was good stuff. I like this. I put it in the spoon. I like reading it like that.
Yeah.
And it was good stuff. I put it in the spoon. I told Diane, I'm going to go first. It fits. She said, go ahead. And for about a week, we were in heaven.
I'll be bad. Okay, I'll be bad.
I'm going to treat myself a little bit.
It's like Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah.
I put it in the spoon.
I put it in the spoon.
So I get the ice cream. I put it in the spoon.
I'm going to go first.
You know what happens. You know what happens after that. I put the ice cream in the spoon.
I put it in the spoon. And for a week, I was in heaven. The money from the burglary went fast. When you're doing nothing but using, money really goes. Diane went. I'll talk about that later. I mean, she died? Finally, all I had left was Bijou.
I think she kills herself.
All I had left was Bijou, the poodle, and I was going out boosting every day to get money for dope. I usually went with a guy named Rudy who had an old Plymouth. We'd drive out together and steal tools. We'd go to building sites in East LA. When the workers ate their lunches, they'd all sit facing the same way, facing the street or the sun.
Nice.
And they'd leave all their tools hooked up, the drills and sanders. One of us would sneak up over to the big piles of dirt where they were digging foundations and unhook the tools, get as many as we could carry, and get out. You'd have to crawl, and it was scary because if these guys ever caught us, they were rough guys, construction workers, and you were taking their tools that they worked to pay for. And soon as you got out, the other guy would drive up and you'd jump in the car and get away. I was just moving around, staying at motels and different people's pads, and I didn't like to leave the dog behind, so I was taking Bijou with me when I went out boosting.
Got Bijou.
And one time when we were driving, me and Rudy and Bijou, near Olympic in Indiana, we spotted an auto paint place, so we stopped. Rudy would go one way, and I'd go another. We'd grab what we could and meet in the car. We both got out. I left Bijou and walked around the corner to the place where they were painting cars. I looked inside and saw a big hydraulic jack. You pump it and the whole car goes up. I snuck into this place and grabbed the thing, and once I grabbed it and started to move it, it was too late to leave it. And what I didn't realize at first was that it had steel wheels, and when I started pulling it, it made this awful noise going over the sidewalk. It made a terrible noise, and I pushed it down the street just as fast as I could. I get to the corner. I look for Rudy. He's down the other way. I wave. I want him to come immediately, but it's too late, and I can't leave this thing. Yeah, you can. You totally can. I roll it to the car. We parked on a residential street right off the main thoroughfare, and I saw some people sitting on a porch a few houses down. They were watching me, but I was getting sick. And anyway, it was too late to do anything but what I had to do. I open the door, and I'm trying to get this thing into the back seat of this old Plymouth sedan. This old Plymouth sedan. There's a line break. Retarded. It was a real beat car, kind of rusty red color, and I'm just killing myself. I've got grease on me, and the handle hits the roof and rips out what upholstery's left. And there's nothing I can do with Bijou. She's jumping up and down. She wants to play. I don't know how I got it in the car. It must have weighed a couple tons. I get it in, and I look around, and there's Bijou down by this house where the people on the porch. She's running around the lawn, barking. I holler, "Come on, Bijou!" And I go after her, but she thinks I'm playing, so she's running like poodles can.
Cat, dogs, man.
Her ears are flying back. She's got this smile on her face. Cats would just leave. Cats would run away, and you'd never see them again. Yeah. She's running like the wind, barking and leaping up in the air. Her tongue is hanging out, and her tail is wagging. And she pounces down on her front paws, stops, and looks at me. I get up almost to her, and then she runs real fast, and oh God. I said, "Come on, Bijou, hurry, please, please." Some other people come out of their houses to watch. I see Rudy up at the corner. He doesn't have anything, and he's running. And I think, uh-oh, something's wrong. Here he comes, man. And he says, let's go, let's go. I say, we got to get Bijou, man. So now we're both going after her. Finally, I catch her. I get her in the car, and we pull out with all the neighbors and her still barking. All the neighbors looking and her still barking. All right. I thought sure someone would take the license number or something, but what saved us was the fact that this was East LA and everybody minds their own business. That's right.
Let's go.
I sold Bijou to Ruben. Oh, man. Sometimes you got to do that. One day I was really sick waiting for Rudy to come over, and Ruben said, why don't you let me take Bijou, man? His old lady liked her. I looked at the dog, and I knew I couldn't keep her, so I said, I'll let you take her, but as soon as I get settled, I want to buy her back. He said, okay, man, but you're not going to get settled. You're just going to jail. I sold Bijou for $20. Later on, I got busted and got out on bail. I went over to Ruben's to see her. I looked out in the yard and couldn't believe my eyes. I said, "Is that you, Bijou?" Always before, she'd hold her tail straight up. She'd wag it. She'd prance. I saw this dog slinking around with her tail between her legs. She was fat, and she had grease on her. Her head looked like a lion's head. Reuben had trimmed the hair off her body, but he'd left it on her head because he was afraid he might hurt her eyes or her ears. She looked at me and started to wag her tail, and then she said, "Oh, God, I look awful." I talked to Reuben and said, what happened to her? He said, "Oh, she's fine except for her haircut." I said, "Well, how'd she get so fat? She used to be so groovy." What?
That's how they talk.
He said, "Oh, she likes tortillas and beans, man. We've been feeding her tortillas and beans." That's amazing. I went through a big scene with them, but they finally agreed to sell her back to me. I took her to a grooming parlor. All the other dogs were there strutting around, and there were these beautiful cats sitting in people's laps. I walked in with this fat dog in a rope collar. She didn't even want to go in the door. I had to carry her, and she hid her head so nobody would see her. The nurse took her on the leash, and the dog looked at me and then slunk out of the room, hiding her eyes. And all the animals were looking at her like, "Who is that? What is she doing here?" It took a couple hours or a couple days.
Just wait.
You just wait.
Just wait.
You
Other
just
dogs and cats.
She's about to enter her villain arc. I took a couple hours or a couple days, I don't remember, and I came back. They called my name. The door opens, and here comes Bijou, just prancing out. I had bought her a collar and given it to them. A little diamond collar with blue, beautiful against her champagne color. They'd cleaned her and clipped her. She walked out with her tail up. She strutted out. She looked marvelous. She looked down her nose at all the other dogs and at the people, and then I petted her, and she went and peed on the floor as if to say, "There, take that." I kept her until it was time to go back to jail. Then I gave her to Diane's sister, Marie. She had a nice big home in West LA. Boosting is hard. Every day, you go through the hassle of stealing some little thing, taking a chance of getting busted, trying to sell it to a fence, going out to score, and by the time you do all that and fix, you've usually shot up all the dope that you got, and it's time to go out and steal something else.
Damn.
It was a continuous job. It was a drag. I'd go to bed at night, and maybe I'd have a little bit of dope left. I knew if I had to get up, I could fix in the morning. I'd be able to get started. But what would happen? I would go to sleep and dream about dope. Dream about police chasing me. Dream about jail. And I would wake up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, soaked with sweat and panic. These dreams had just taken all the dope out of me, I felt. And so I would invariably shoot my get up, go back to sleep, and then wake up at 8 and not have anything and be sick. And then that thing would start of running around and trying to figure out how to get money and where to score. I completely forgot how to read for a second.
He's also talking weird.
Yeah, that was crazy. Oh yeah, this is a guy talking.
It's him talking, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. So many things could go wrong. There's been times when I'd been going to one connection and everything was running along smooth, and then one day I'd make the phone call and some strange voice would answer, or his old lady, "Yeah, he's not here anymore," or "He doesn't live here." I would have to find another connection. I'd have to go all over. Then I'd run into somebody, and then I'd ask the guy, "Does he have anything?" And he'd say, "No, man, I just sold my last gram, but I know where I can score for you, man." So you don't want to, but the only thing you can do is go with him. And here you are with some guy in a car of all kinds of weird neighborhoods. You're in places where it's real hot as far as the heat goes, and you don't feel safe.
The cops.
Right. And you're trying to figure out some way to score without putting the money out in front because you might get burned. But the guy says, man, I gotta have the bread. I can't take you to the man. I gotta have the bread to buy the stuff. If you don't trust me, forget it, man. He'd get indignant. So you had to be cool, and you might have to give him $20 or $50, and that's it. That's your money, and you're sick already.
I'm sick already?
And you think, what if he doesn't come back? I've had guys let me off on a corner, and the police are going by, and I've got to find a place where they won't see me vomiting, but there's nowhere to go. I'm waiting and watching every car. The guy says, I'll be back in 10 minutes. And you look at the time, and it seems like an hour, and it's only been 8-9 minutes. Pretty soon, it's 20 minutes. Then it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and you panic, but you can't leave the spot because if you leave, the guy's got a perfect excuse to burn you. You have to stay. Excuse me. And you're thinking of all the things. You could get rousted. You could get picked up for marks.
I hate when I get rousted.
In those days, if you had marks on your arms, they could throw you in jail. And you'd have to go to jail sick.
No.
Never. You're thinking of how wonderful it feels when you put the needle in.
Yeah.
It takes all the cold away and all the chills and the agony from your mind. Finally, the guy comes back. He drives up and looks at you, shakes his head, kind of frantic, and right away you know there's some kind of game going. The guy will drive by and pretend the heater behind him, and then he'll sneak back to the street and whistle at you. And you'll go over, and it'll be, oh man, I almost got busted, man, hijo. Then he'll be raving on, and you'll know, oh God, I'm burned. The guy will say, I gave him the bread, man. And he went into the house to get the stuff, and all of a sudden the narcos came, and they broke in the door, and I was hiding in the back alley all this time. I was afraid to run. Wow, man, I'm sorry, hijo. I'm sick too. You got some money, man? Maybe I know another guy. And, oh, Jesus, God. You have to go out and get more money, and you're sick. Sick.
Yeah, I'm sick.
And even when you get the money, you don't know whether you can cop. Other times, the guy comes back with the stuff, but you're out on the street, so you can't get at it to taste it.
Right.
Even if you do, it might have a lot of quinine in it, which makes it bitter, so it tastes like stuff. So you get the outfit. So you get to the outfit. You go into some toilet, in a gas station, or in a laundromat. You put the stuff in the spoon and pour the water in it. Then you see the stuff floating. It's floating on top. It's floating on the water. It's baking soda. You try to cook it up anyway, even though you know you've been burned, and it turns into a paste. It just bubbles into a paste. Other times you cook up, and it's the real stuff, and you've gone through all these things to score. And I've been in a shitter, and all of a sudden the needle will clog, and I can't fix, and there's nothing I can do. I've got to get out of there and find some way to get a spike. It wasn't legal to sell them anymore. They got harder and harder to get. Or the rubber on the eyedropper might break, or the Jeep might leak. Oh my God, and you go to shoot the stuff, and most of it shoots out the end of the dropper instead of through the needle. So I'm doing this little penny ante boosting, making enough to get 1 gram or 2 grams at a time, and then I'm out again. And then I'm thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? My friends were telling me, hey man, what are you doing out here stealing things? Why don't you straighten up? Go to work. Make an album. I'd get the letters. Want to record? Play here? I was too fucked up to do it. I got more and more angry at myself, hated myself for what I was doing. And I'd let so many people down by not taking care of business. The talent I was given, I was wasting it, throwing it away. And I was bitter. Bitter that I had to go to jail. Friends of mine, musicians I'd played with, roomed with, they'd been using for years and never went to jail. I know they got busted, as they must have just ratted on somebody to get out of it. You know? And here I am, because I'm trying to be a decent human being and not be a rat. I'm in jail all the time.
Keep going to jail.
Why? I'm not hurting anyone. I just keep getting loaded. I got bitter at people. I was angry and bitter. I would be out hustling, trying to score. I'd be sick, and I'd see people going to work in the morning, all in their nice cars, dressed nice, clean-shaven, and clear-headed. I'd see them going to work, and I'd still be standing on the corner waiting for some guy freezing someplace in the evening as they were coming home. Here come the same cars back, and they're all smiling and happy. Just the guys in the neighborhood in East LA. And they go into the market, and they get a check on Friday, man, and they cash that check, and they buy their juice, and they're happy. They're not sick. I hated them. I was envious of them. I would say, look at those chumps. Fucking assholes, lames, fucking rabble, sheep, animals, following the leader. I'm not like that. I'm different. Fuck them. Fuck society. I'd rave like I used to hear my dad rave about the rabble, the scissor bills, the K slurs, the spicks, the N-words, the tramps and floozies, and so on and so forth. Each time I got sick, there was more and more fear and hate, knowing I was trapped and I couldn't stop, knowing I was going back to jail. I was full of animosity and so jealous, and all I wanted was a lot of money, man.
He's a simple guy.
So I could lay up and really drown myself in heroin, saturate myself with it, so I wouldn't feel or see, so I wouldn't want to cry or die. All I wanted was lots of money so I could make myself totally oblivious to everything. When I was in jail, I heard a lot of stories. Guys gather in little groups. You walk down the freeway and look in a cell, and there'd be 4 or 5 guys talking about shooting this stuff and that stuff. Or someone will come up to you and say, "Hey, Art, take me on a trip." And so you tell about something you did. Something that happened to you, the whole thing, you paint a picture. On the street, nobody will listen to anybody else for more than a minute, a couple of minutes at most. But in jail, people will listen. If a guy can talk,
welcome to jail,
for 2 or 3 hours straight, without ever saying a word. I think we might be okay in jail.
I think we'll be great in jail.
Some are better than others at it, and they'll paint some beautiful things, sometimes about women, but mostly about different junk they've had, how good it was, and how big scores they made. They'd pull a robbery, and instead of buying a gram or a quarter, they'd buy a piece or 2, or 3 or 4 pieces, and sell a little bit, and lay up and just fix and not have to go out on the street. So now what I wanted was to find somebody to help me pull an armed robbery. I wanted to go in with a gun, get the money, score, get away from the scene, and cool it. All right, dude. I went to person after person.
Oh, nice.
I locked in there a little bit.
That was good.
I ain't gonna lie.
We're in the home stretch. Where's person after person? Where is it?
At the bottom of this page.
Okay. I went to person after person looking for someone to do it with. Every now and then I'd run into somebody who in the joint had talked about what a big man he was and how many armed robberies he'd pulled, which I'd believed. I'd seen him, and now it was, "Oh man, I just got married and my old lady," or "I just had a kid," or "Man, the heat is so hot. It's too hot around here. I'm afraid that the man has got the pad staked out." What it boiled down to was that the guys were just chicken. They were just bullshitting in the joint, and they were really nothing but street hypes running around stealing the easiest things they could find. I kept looking and I kept asking Ruben. I told him, "Man, let's do something, or are you just a bullshitter too?" He finally said, "Okay, but we're not going to do it like a couple of idiots, like these guys that run into these little markets and get shot for $20 or $30. Let's take our time and look around and find some place where we can get something worthwhile."
Yeah. Do it right.
There was a bar in East LA. All the gangsters and the big dope peddlers hung out there. Ruben said that we could really get a haul. It was a hands-off place and in place. You just don't rob a place like that, because if those gangsters find out who it was, they would kill us. We cased it. Ruben found out where the bread was. We staked it out for 3 weeks. We were going to do it in the morning when the cleaning guy, the Mayate, the spook, cleaned it. I don't know Mayate.
I don't either.
Mayate. See if it's got it.
Mayate. I'm on
Mayate. It's got to be Spanish for like janitor, boy slave. But it might be so much of a slur that they took it out of the dictionary by 1995. We need an older dictionary with more slurs.
Nope.
No mayate. All right, we figured out what it meant. He listed a couple things.
Yeah.
It's like the spook.
It's an epithet for sure.
We figured they might have 20, 30 grand, which was a lot of bread, a lot of dope. But it wasn't only the bread or the dope. It was the idea of having the balls and the heart to do it. Everybody would be out to kill us. Me, Art Pepper. And I wanted to have a gun because I wanted to be able to kill somebody so I could be the cat that was the violent one. From prison, from the movies, you know. I wanted to shoot 2 or 3 people because I thought it would prove my strength.
Whoa.
The time comes and we meet, and Ruben gives me the strips of wire to tie up the spook. Thick wire, like baling wire. I fold it up and I put it in my pocket. He gives me a crowbar and I say, "Where's my gun?" And he says, "I'm not going to give you a gun, man. You're too crazy." You see, they all thought I was insane. It kind of knocked me out. These were violent killer gangster type cats. Guys that had stabbed people in prison and killed them. And they thought I was too violent. Me, a musician, real
Art
lovable.
Pepper.
Real lovable, a loner, a real melancholy type person.
A heroin addict.
They were afraid to give me a gun, and that flattered me. We went to a gas station across the street from this bar and fixed one last time in case we were killed, so we'd be straight. I had the wire in my back pocket and the crowbar, and Ruben had the gun. We parked the car the way we planned it, and we watched, and all of a sudden 2 mayates come out and start cleaning the windows in front. There's 2 spooks instead of 1.
No.
It's the first time there's been 2. I said, "I told you, you should have let me have a gun. What's going to happen now if I go back or back in the back or in the front or wherever you go? I'm going to be without a gun." He said, "It's too late now. Do you want to forget it?" I said, "I just want the money, man. Let me have the gun, man. Let me do it by myself. Let me just go in and kill them." I lost interest in seeing if I had the balls or not. I knew I had the heart. I could have killed anyone, 20 people if I had to, just to get the money, to get the dope. Ruben said, "I'll go in the back. I'll subdue them. You stand by the front, by the door. You wait, count to 100, and then walk in." And I said, "I walk in? What if they got a gun? They'll just kill me." He said, "You want to do it or not?" I said, "All right, fuck it. Go ahead then. Fuck it." This was Monday morning. They were going to take the money to the bank at 10 o'clock. It was starting to get daylight. The people were waiting at the bus stop to go to work. Here I was. I was just going to walk in dead through the front door. Ruben went to the back. I waited and waited, counted, then I went in. Ruben had one guy down lying on the floor. The other one had his hands in the air. Ruben had the gun on him, a violent, old-looking gun. The guy was just praying, "Don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me, please don't kill me." I walked in and he saw me and just flipped out. He was shaking all over. And Ruben said, "Tie him up."
"Are you Art Pepper?"
I started walking toward him. I reached in my back pocket to get the wire, and he thought I was reaching for a gun, and he went completely crazy. He broke and ran. He started running toward me, toward the door. He was a great big mayate. I grabbed at him and tried to hold him, but he pulled away. I yelled at Ruben, "Kill him! Shoot him!" And Ruben had the gun on him, but he didn't fire. And the guy just ran right through me and out the door screaming, "Help! Help! They're going to kill me! Help!" I ran to the door to try to stop him, and then I ran back. I said, "What are we going to do now? Why did you shoot him?" "Boy, what a fucking asshole you are. Talk about having balls. You haven't got any heart at all. Where's the money?" And I ran around behind the counter and started ripping out the cabinets and tearing things apart to try to find the money. Ruben ran out the back door. The other guy was still lying on the ground. I couldn't find the money. I ran out thinking that any minute a bullet was going to hit me. I could hear noise and people screaming, and I ran around the corner, and Ruben had started the car. He was making a U-turn. I ran to the car, grabbed the door, jumped in, and we drove away. I started yelling, "You lousy motherfucker, boy, what a yellow cocksucker you are." Ruben stopped at Rachel's house where I was staying. He said, "I'm going to let you off." I said, "What do you mean? We haven't got any money. Let's go rob someplace. Let me have the gun." He said, "No, man, I'll see you later."
Just give me the gun.
I said,
we'll be chill.
"What a yellow motherfucker you are." All these people were supposed to have so much nerve. I felt that I had way more balls than they did, and I didn't think I have had any heart at all. I thought, who am I supposed to look up to? Who am I supposed to follow? Who am I supposed to like? And what am I supposed to pattern myself after? It's morning. I'm sick. No money, no dope, and at any minute I might be picked up by the police or killed by the Chicanos if they find out who tried to rob this place, and it's all for nothing. I went to Rudy's. I said, "Oh man, let's do something." I didn't tell him who I went with, but I told him what had happened, and I said, here I am sick, man, and I don't know what to do." We went out. We went to a gas station. He turned the guy, and I took a battery charger. We went to a fence. I think we got $60 for this beautiful battery charger. We bought a quarter of stuff.
Beautiful battery charger.
And I was so drug and unhappy, we shot it and shot it. And then the next chapter is called The Los Angeles County Jail. The Hole. So things don't look good.
I like the Art Pepper series.
Yeah.
If we're gonna get, I like the idea of getting into Art Pepper.
He's a freaky cat.
He's the freakiest cat.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good chapters.
This is awesome. Yeah.
He goes to jail. Everybody in jail is really weird.
Hearing about shit go wrong, There's not enough stories where everything goes wrong.
Yeah, there's one where he gets caught and it's really fucked up. That one's good.
Yeah. You just
the cops try to kill him.
You just get into wilder shit if you do heroin.
Yeah.
You just have better stories if you used to do heroin.
You're hanging out with the craziest guy.
That's the moral of heroin, is you don't do it, but if you're gonna do it, stop doing it so you can talk about it.
Right.
It'll be interesting.
It'll be very interesting, yeah.
Think about how interesting you'll be if you stop doing heroin.
Yeah, the cops try to kill him.
The
cops are in jail, and one of the cops wants to kill him.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Fuck. All right.
It's pretty crazy.
We'll
Check it out.
We'll do a pepper episode.
So much pep to come. So much more jazz.
Pep. Yeah, this book is going to stick around.
It's
and he's book. White?
He's a white man. Sorry, I didn't say that. If you didn't know.
Folks, you're going to want to Google this guy.
Check out Surf Ride. It's a good album to start with. It's got a lady surfing on the front.
Nice. Check out Carly Rae Jepsen, her album from 2012, Kiss.
Okay, y'all have a good one.